Hey everyone! Welcome to another episode of the Radium Girls. I'm Valerie.
And I'm Sarah.
And today, for our birthday month, we're going to talk about LRADs, which is how sound can be used as a weapon.
Yes. Sounds terrifying.
Very.
So the LRAD, or Long Range Acoustic Device, is an acoustic hailing device, sound cannon, and sonic weapon developed by Genesis. The LRAD is like a car alarm from hell, and if you aren't careful, it could permanently damage your hearing.
Mine's already damaged.
Yeah. Yeah. We're both deaf.
Right.
DEF deaf.
It's an inside joke.
Yeah. The first LRADs were developed as military weapons in response to the bombing of the USS Cole off the coast of Yemen in 2000. Military officials asked the LRAD Corporation, which is now known as Genesis, for a device with two functions: to communicate at a distance with potential threats, and to disperse them with an unbearable alarm-like sound. Law enforcement organizations and the manufacturer claim that LRAD systems are primarily designed for long-range communications. However, the device has an extremely high decibel capacity and is controversially used as a less lethal weapon for crowd control. The Academy of Doctors of Audiology states that individuals exposed to weaponized LRAD used at the 2009 G20 summit experienced mild traumatic brain injuries, permanent hearing loss, tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, eardrum perforation, which is like holes in your ears, ear pain, dizziness, and disorientation. So just a warning, if you're very sensitive to sound, I would turn it down or just skip for the next, I don't know, however many seconds, but
10, I don't know.
10 seconds we'll play. We're going to play a clip for you from the 2009 G20 summit that we're going to play the actual LRADs that were used. We're going to play some footage captured there. Sure, something like that. You know. That's so loud. So it's like they would pulsate it. They would play it for a little bit and then they'd stop. And then they would play it and they that's what they do. They pulsate it.
That'd be so loud.
I can't imagine hearing that in real life.
No. According to the manufacturer's specifications, the systems weigh from 15 to 320 pounds and can emit sound in a 30 to 60 degree beam at 2.5 kilohertz. The manufacturer also produces systems for public address and mass notification use that broadcast 360 degrees. So instead of just 30 to 60 degrees, it goes all the way around.
Mm-hmm. Which is terrifying, because then you don't have, any options. You're going to hear it directly.
That's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Can't escape it.
You can't escape it. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Oh man, that's terrifying. I wonder if they would do this in I don't know why I think was it I Am Legend?
Mm-hmm.
I told you I get that in the band mixed up.
In the band?
There's a band called Legend.
Oh.
But what if something like that happened? Would they do that to us, at the beginning?
Probably. It's for mass notification.
No, they would LRAD us with demon sounds.
You think?
No, probably. It'll send us back home. Okay, so LRAD systems are used by law enforcement, government and defense agencies, as well as maritime and commercial security companies to broadcast audible notifications and warnings over distance. LRAD systems are also used to deter wildlife from airport runways. That's cool, I didn't know that. So they have them at the runways. Wind and solar farms, nuclear power facilities, gas and oil platforms, mining, and agricultural operations and industrial plants. I did not know all these places had those.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But, they're using it for probably broadcast systems, right? Words, not sounds. Are they doing sounds?
Well, I think that, like, the, to deter the wildlife from airport runways.
That was probably sound tone.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's probably, like, that high-pitched sound that humans can't hear. They're putting it at either the higher decibel that humans can't hear or the low decibel that humans can't hear, but animals can.
Yeah. But, like, these plants and facilities, they're probably just doing it for broadcast, right? Because why else would they do it?
I mean, unless they're doing it for all the wildlife. And because it could be, like, I don't know if used to deter wildlife from blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Oh. So they aim the beam outside?
Yeah. I don't know why else they would have it. Like you said, I don't know why else they would have it unless to deter the wildlife. Like,
broadcast something happening. I don't know. Fire alarm?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Anyway, they got him.
Crazy.
So on June 26, 2015.
Shout out! That's my birthday.
Her actual birth date is used.
Finally, we get a birthday for me.
Shot.
Everybody.
Yeah, you want to take a shot?
Oh yeah, I got. Okay.
It's your actual birthday, so we have to.
We have to take 2 shots.
This is diet soda.
This is beer.
It is root beer, so.
There we go.
Czech Special Forces police during anti-immigration and anti-Islam protests in Brno, the second largest city in Czech Republic. On November 17th, 2021...
Shout out my nephew's birthday.
Oh. Prague police supervised several announced rallies, meetings, and demonstrations. Thousands of participants gathered at the largest protest in the Old Town Square. The police and a Prague City Hall representative used an LRAD to repeatedly call upon demonstrators to follow COVID public safety protocols and to comply with security measures.
So they're even using them like now with the COVID and stuff with the
It's the end of last year, not that long ago.
Yeah, not long ago at all, like 4 months ago, because this is March.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 months ago. Whatever. We all know how my math going backwards is.
It was a month ago, okay?
The city of Laguna Beach, California installed LRAD speaker sirens in 2018. The systems alert the downtown and main beach areas during an emergency where the public needs to take immediate action.
I mean, that would make sense if it's like in California where you got tsunamis and earthquakes.
Do tsunamis happen in Cali?
They can, but they like really don't.
Okay.
I read that somewhere or heard it somewhere.
Okay, because I was like, when's the last time we've heard about a tsunami in Cali?
I think it's like rare or something. But,
yeah.
It would be smart to have those there.
But they got like fires and all kinds of stuff.
And fires, yeah.
I mean, this was,
2018.
Well, yeah, but the beach areas. So, you've got, I don't think hurricanes hit there, but you got all kinds of stuff. Like if there's sharks and whatnot.
True. Yeah, I can see it being at a beach. That'd probably be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I wonder if they, have these to be like, oh, it's just the broadcast. And then deep down, they're like, no, it's for the sound.
It's for the sound.
We're going to get them one day.
Oh, yeah. I 100% think that there's more to it than just meets the eye or just to broadcast all these messages or whatever to people or emergency system. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of an emergency system are you talking about? Like world's ending and you're trying to keep these people away from shelter because, whatever, they're trying to do the population control crap.
They could hit us with this at any time.
They could. There's so many other things, too, that they could hit us on. It just adds to the list,
But this one would be easy, especially if it's like a sound we can't even hear. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
This is so crazy.
Which we could talk about that a little bit now that you brought that up. It's the sound that you can't hear. It's supposed to, there's this frequency that we are not supposed to be able to hear it. Let us know. We'll play you a clip. Let us know if you actually can hear it. And it's supposed to, might make you feel uncomfortable, maybe a little nauseous, maybe a little disoriented or something, but you're not supposed to be able to hear it. Or, well, as an adult, you don't hear it. I'm going to have to ask Maddox. I don't want to make him feel weird, though.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, when I listen to it, I don't know if it's just like the placebo effect, like they were talking about in the video too, that we watched, but like my ears felt pressure. But did you feel anything? I don't think.
No, but
No.
yeah, I can't hear anyway. So
Well, yeah, but even if you don't hear it, you're supposed to supposed to disorient you.
No, maybe we were playing it on the TV or something.
Yeah, maybe we'd have to play it louder. Anyways, we'll play it for you. We'll insert a clip here. Has it been long enough?
Yeah.
So let us know if you heard that sound, or if you felt like
I feel nothing.
anything. Me neither. Not really. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I think it might be just the placebo effect. You anticipate hearing it, or feeling something, but you don't.
Am I feeling? Oh my god.
Yeah. So, in June of 2019, Mill Valley, California became the first city in the Bay Area to replace its sirens with LRAD community notification systems.
They would.
Why do you say that?
In case they need to control the area.
Oh, I thought you... Okay.
No, they're replacing regular sirens with the LRAD so they can control people one day.
So the combined siren loudspeakers receive emergency messages via satellite and have backup batteries if the power fails. So they're going to turn the grids off completely, but they got these batteries, and then they're going to control us to make us you got to get,
This is when the solar flare hits the earth and everything goes out, and then you can't control the people. You got the backup batteries.
Yeah. Because you won't have social media, you won't have news outlets to get all this information to the people. So they're going to use these LRADs to get the message out to them, while secretly people who've never heard of an LRAD and don't know what it can do, it's controlling people. They want to get away from the message, so they're going to set these LRADs up. They want to get away from that feeling, not the message. So they're going to set these LRADs up to a place where the government does not want people to go to, so it'll deter them from that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Another thing, I wonder... if it was like a solar flare thing,
No, I'm drinking.
I just thought of this, okay? If it was like a solar flare thing, it takes out everything, all electricity or electronic stuff. It says it does an emergency message via satellite.
Would it take out the satellites?
Would it take out the satellites? Because, you're not going to have your phone. I don't think so. You wouldn't have power.
Yeah, but how are the satellites powered?
I don't know.
By solar?
I don't know.
Let me Google this.
I don't know anything about satellites. Probably. I guess it is. I guess they have to be. I think they have solar panels.
I think so.
Yeah. So, I guess it was
solar. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that answers it. We still get messages.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
That answers that.
It's either messages via satellite, or they could put a recording up to it, like a battery recording. Somebody record something and then hook it up to that. You know what I mean?
True. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned.
Yeah. These devices vary in appearance and size, but every model has the same two capabilities. In one mode, the LRAD acts as an amplifier, projecting a human voice or recording across thousands of meters, which is exactly what I was just talking about. In the other, it emits a deterrent tone. And the other thing that I was just talking about, so loud that it can cause permanent hearing loss.
So why does it have to have both?
Why does it have to have the ability to do both?
Yeah.
To send messages and injure and hurt people on a mass scale.
You don't have to do both.
We're taking it to, now we're starting to, turn this into a conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy.
Well, it's real. These are real, and this is all facts.
The conspiracy is what they're doing with it.
That's true.
Using it as a weapon.
That's very true. Protesters have reported LRAD attacks by police at the NODAPL protest at Standing Rock during the 2017 Women's March in Washington, D.C., and in dozens of other cities and demonstrations around the world. Any sounds above 85 decibels can cause permanent damage to your hearing depending on how long you're exposed to them. Normal conversation is about 60 to 70 decibels. Concerts and sporting events can be about 94 to 110 decibels, and a jet taking off can be between 120 and 140 decibels. In contrast, some LRADs can create sounds up to about 160 decibels when used at their full power.
My ears will explode.
Yeah.
This is why I'm deaf. I said deaf. This is why I'm deaf. Concerts. And sporting events.
Mm-hmm. And that's also why they say not to put, like, your headphones and stuff on super loud. And why not to use, like, the
inside ones.
The inside ones. Use the ones that muffle your ear.
Yeah.
Muffle your ear, what? They have a
cup
foam
your
pad.
Ear?
Yeah.
The headphones, not earphones. But
yeah.
I used to listen to my iPod on full blast for years and years.
I actually did pretty good. I didn't like it too loud.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh man, mine was full blast.
I had I think I still do have, like, very sensitive ears. I'm very sensitive to sounds and, like, the way things sound. Like, I don't know have you ever heard somebody do that whistle thing with their mouth where it's like, and it's really high pitched. Yeah, oh my gosh, this guy in school, like, I think it was like middle school or something, he learned that it bothered me. It didn't bother anybody else. They could hear it, but it didn't bother me. But me, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Well, I don't know what I was trying to say, but it just, like, it hurts my ears. So, like, listening to headphones and stuff, I don't like it too loud. That's crazy. Now that I'm older, sometimes it is a little louder than normal, but
I did used to do the over the ears because those little things don't fit in my ears. Like, they always fall out. Yeah. So I have to do over. So maybe that helped a little bit. But then I did go to concerts, like, every other weekend. Or not concerts, but, like, local shows. Mm-hmm. And then now I live by the fuck do you call those?
Airport?
An airport. And even when I was a kid, I lived by an airport before. And sometimes you can hear the jets. Yeah. So it's just meant to be deaf.
Yeah.
Robert Auld, an audio engineer, is one of the many in his trade who sees LRAD deployment as a military-style escalation of force. I would characterize it as a terror weapon. Up there with tear gas and flashbang grenades. The latter are supposed to be non-lethal, but they can hurt you. Same for the LRAD, Auld says. The principle behind using an LRAD as crowd control, rather than for a long-distance communication, is similar to the idea behind a whistle or a siren. They all emit tones in the most sensitive range of frequencies for most humans. At a distance, an LRAD deterrent tone may sound like any other alarm. But while whistles emit sound waves in all directions, LRADs concentrate the waves in a narrow cone of sound, extending about 15 degrees in every direction from the axis, like a flashlight. This directional sound wave packs the typically diffused kinetic energy into a tight space, bombarding those in its vicinity with a powerful tone that's an annoyance at a distance, and a serious medical threat up close. Yeah.
Yeah.
As reports of LRADs used on civilians roll in, sound specialists and DIYers have scrambled unsuccessfully to find some way to mitigate the weapon's effects. Cheap foam earplugs provided some protection, up to 30 decibels, while covering your hands with your ears reduces noise by around 20 decibels. But the best protection is to get out of the direct beam of the weapon. But how do you know if the beam is facing you? Like, you'd hear it more or something?
So, I think that you would just, like... So, if you're standing there and you're having this problem, whatever, you're hearing it, whatever... if you can't see it and you don't know where it's coming from, the sound, I would just, like, if you're on a street and the crowd is all this way on the street, then I would walk horizontal rather than parallel. Yeah, I would walk perpendicular to wherever the crowd is. Yeah. Or diagonal or something. And then if you're, like, still feeling it, then it could be one of those 360 ones.
True.
Or I would just, like, walk a little farther until I knew that I was probably outside of that 60-degree range, and then if I'm still inside of it, then I'm fucked.
Remember that the LRAD beams sound in a narrow pattern, so move off to one side to get out of the main pattern, Ald says.
There you go.
Well, yeah, move to the side.
Yeah.
If it is used as a communications device, put in earplugs and check out the scene for routes of escape from possible injurious exposure.
It's suggested to treat LRADs as a warning from police that they're about to escalate violence, even if it starts out as a public service announcement.
That's why they switch it.
Exactly. LRADs are frequently used in conjunction with other suppression tactics like targeted arrests and pepper spray. One form of escalation should alert to defend against additional forms. Police departments are supposed to issue warnings prior to escalations and arrests. This often happens through the LRAD. If you hear a warning from the police, it is likely that this signals that they are planning escalated next steps, be it seizure or use of a deterrent tone. From reports of those affected by LRAD misuse, we see the effects of these powerful devices when they are used against civilians. After being exposed to LRAD Model 100X's alarm mode in close range in 2014, for the first week I had a migraine and just a lot of facial pressure. Since the LRAD incident, I've been pretty freaked out about going back. I'm worried about what damage it caused and what it could cause if I went out there again. Shay Horse, another person exposed to a close-range LRAD in 2014, continues. It feels like your eardrums are beating out of your head. It makes the side of your body that you've been hit on feel numb and that your sinuses are inflamed. I feel like I had blood coming out of my orifices. I heard the ringing for about a week. Journalist Andrew Neef was there the first time a long-range acoustic device was ever used on U.S. soil. It felt like my head was going to pop, Neef recalled.
Neef was covering the Pittsburgh G20 protests of 2009 when the police decided to turn on their LRAD to try and disperse the crowd. Neef's footage of it being used has been widely circulated online. The company who makes the devices, also called LRAD, even used his footage for promotional material. Neef sued since the footage belonged to him and was countersued for using the term LRAD in his video. Wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow. The company eventually removed the video from its promotional material. The Phoenix Police Department recently won approval to purchase 2 of the same type of LRAD used in Pittsburgh.
So they had to get approval to purchase these, like, I mean, I'm sure they're not cheap.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
But also having to get approval for something like this, like, what?
Dang.
Yeah.
They told the public they intend to use it for communication with large crowds and have no intention of weaponizing the device. Why you have to say that?
That's what I was thinking.
Tempe police have had one since 2016 and stated that they only use the device to communicate with large crowds. That basically is Phoenix.
What do you mean?
Tempe.
Yeah, but what?
It's like a city, like basically in Phoenix.
But where's Phoenix talking about?
Arizona? What?
You think I don't know this?
Well, what are you asking?
Like, where does that come from? Why are you saying that?
Oh, because the
basically
police.
is police. Okay. Never mind.
Because it said the Phoenix police, and then it says the Tempe police have them.
Well, but it's not then, because obviously they have it. They needed it.
It's technically, it's pretty much the same place. Pretty much. It's like you living here and Tyler. Right there. You're basically Tyler.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
When pushed about if they have policies in place for it not to be used to disperse crowds, the Mirror did not get an answer. I'm guessing that's like a newspaper or something. Phoenix Police Department is still finalizing its policies on how to use the equipment, and a spokesperson for Tempe PD said it had no formal written policy on how the LRAD is deployed or used.
Neef is no stranger to non-lethal weapons used by police to disperse crowds, but in 2009, he and others were in for a surprise. It was definitely a shock when it was used on us. Neef said. He had been following protesters all day in Pittsburgh and had heard rumors about some new device police had. They had already been using LRAD to speak to the crowd, and everyone noticed how much louder it was than a bullhorn. It was like the voice of God coming down to your ear, Neef said of how loud the speaker felt when being used to issue commands. Then suddenly and without warning, police began sending out a pulsating sound that was well over 100 decibels.
That's loud.
That's super loud. Your brain feels like it's vibrating in a bowl of jelly on the table, Neef said. He plugged his right ear with a finger while his left held his camera steady, meaning his left ear was exposed to the pulsating tone. He compared the sensation to the film Scanners, in which psychics use their powers to cause pain in the brain of others, often with explosive results. So you guys, have you seen the movie Push? I know we've talked about this. I absolutely love this movie. Like, could watch it over and over again. Still holds up for me to this day. Love it. This is the one with Dakota Fanning when she's younger and, girl, what's his name? He's so fine. Anyways, they've got powers, and some of the bad guys, they scream, and it's like piercing, and it hurts. Like normal people, it doesn't hurt their ears, but the people with the powers, their ears start bleeding, and if they scream long enough, it kills them. But that's what I think about this. Like, he's talking about the film Scanners. I'd love to watch this movie. I haven't watched it. I told myself I was going to try to watch it, but I haven't yet. But to cause pain in the brains of others, explosive results. This is Push.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what that reminds me of. So now I'm thinking, like, was that specific power based on LRADs? Or maybe Scanners was based on LRADs? I don't know when Scanners came out, but...
I mean, it is a weapon. Mm-hmm. Oh, that looks old.
I figured it'd have to be an older movie.
1981. It's a Canadian science fiction horror film.
I'm gonna have to watch it. But yeah, if you haven't seen Push, I highly suggest watching it, even though it's still, like, I think it came out in 2009 or something like that. So, I'd watch it. I wonder if they did, because if it came, I think it came out around 2009, and then the 2009 women's, the thing that happened there was in 2009. But Pittsburgh wouldn't be the only place Neef would be exposed to deafening tones. In Standing Rock, protesters were all well aware of the technology, and many came prepared.
That's good.
Yeah. Earplugs are a good way to block out the noise, Neef said. Neef experiences oddities in his hearing occasionally, but he can't for sure say if the LRADs are to blame. After all, he has been exposed to a litany of devices used to disperse crowds that are also known to cause hearing damage.
Phoenix police say that they don't intend to use the device over 113 decibels.
They don't intend to use it over 113 decibels. Now, going to a concert we discussed earlier is anywhere between around 90-something to 110 decibels. So they're talking about doing this over a concert level.
Yeah, that's loud.
That's still loud. We don't intend to use it over what you would normally hear at a concert, you know.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, okay. I don't know, because 60 to 70 is about normal. That's just crazy. Okay, go ahead.
According to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the longest anyone should be exposed to a noise of that level without ear protection is 45 seconds. Wow. The LRAD commonly used by law enforcement across the country and the one used at the U.S. border can go as loud as 140 decibels, which OSHA recommends you be exposed to for less than a second or you could sustain permanent hearing damage. Less than a second.
That's insane.
Dang.
That's the one that's most commonly used at the border. That's insane.
That's crazy. My people.
I was going to say those poor people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wasn't about to say that, but those poor people.
My people. Neef plans to continue covering protests and contentious situations as a member of the media, but has made sure to keep earplugs handy. You basically have to have the same equipment as SWAT guys to stay safe covering these things now. If you think police might be using an LRAD at a protest you're attending, bring earplugs or safety earmuffs with the highest decibel rating you can find. Foam earplugs available at many pharmacies are inexpensive and effective. According to Kansas State University speech and hearing specialist Dr. Harry Rainbolt, they cannot block out high-frequency sound and will provide no protection from the high sound levels. Is that for cotton balls?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Noise-canceling headphones, which focus mostly on low-frequency sounds, likewise won't do much to protect you. Oh.
So basically, you need those earplugs that you use for shooting guns.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The safety earmuffs.
Mm-hmm. If you see police officers nearing an LRAD, let those around you know to be prepared for the possibility that they'll use the device. If they give a verbal command to disperse over the LRAD's public address system, it is likely that they will use the deterrent sound afterwards. This is a good time to get your earplugs in or at least to a nearby pocket. Look for places to shelter. Sound waves deflect off dense and rigid surfaces, so brick and concrete walls are a good bet. If the police begin using the deterrent sound and you're not behind shelter, imagine the sound as a beam and walk perpendicularly to the direction of that beam. That is, if the LRAD is in front of you, go left or right, rather than just backing up. You don't need to leave the scene of the gathering to escape the brunt of the device's sound. You merely need to get out of its narrow path.
Unless it's 360.
Unless it's a 360, then just you're fucked.
Yeah.
Or like you said, go find some brick or something. Yeah. So that was our story about LRADs and how sound can be used as a weapon. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard about LRADs before? Have you been exposed to an LRAD before?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a good question. But yeah, I've never. I've heard this story because of, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the YouTube channel Glam and Gore. Mikey covered it, and then I think maybe you saw it before me. And you asked me if I watched it or something. I don't know. Both of us watch her channel.
It's been so long ago.
I know. This was back in 2020 and we're now in 2022. So there are some things that we didn't actually fully cover in the story. So I just touch base on it real quick. But it was believed that LRADs were used in Philadelphia before the protest. Right? Wasn't it before them? I think it was before them. We didn't fully do that. I read about this and I was doing a lot of research with it, but I didn't really put it in here. So I wanted to talk about it. But there were a bunch of explosion sounds in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. A theory went around that these were LRADs being used because there was 20, 30, 40 sounds of explosions. But it came later to find out that some ATMs were, people were going around and blowing up ATMs, or maybe this was at the start of the protest, blowing up ATMs and robbing ATMs and stuff. But only 11 ATMs were blown up. So that would account for 11 of the explosion sounds, but there were 20 or 30 or 40 explosion sounds. So it doesn't make up for the rest of them. What else was being blown up? No other reports were happening. The rest of them were just drug out by a truck or something like that. So that was interesting to think that they were possibly using LRADs either in preparation of all these protests, testing them out or something, or that there were, they're using them for the protests.
They're going to have them ready.
So another thing to that with the whole Philadelphia explosions and stuff like that was, this one hits a little close to home for us me specifically because I'm from that area, but there were some noises very similar that somebody heard it up in, it might have been Philly or somewhere around there. And they also heard it in Bryan, Texas, that it sounded like a banshee screaming. Yeah. And we'll put a clip in. But it sounds like a banshee screaming. And not only did they hear that in Bryan, and there were multiple videos of that sound, and it's terrifying. It's I would not want to go out and hear that in the middle of the night. There was a thunderstorm happening and stuff, but they heard it somewhere else too, the same sounds the night before. So that's creepy. So it's like, But so I think somebody came out that was either an engineer at Texas A&M or something, an audio I don't know. But they said that it was like something with the A&M. They were releasing some steam valves or something. And there is one video that we watched where you can see it looks like every time you hear the noise, you see steam come up and then it'd stop and the steam would stop. So it did look like maybe something was being released.
Yeah.
But there was a report that somebody who like went to Texas A&M said that if it was truly Texas A&M, they had like this really good communication system that would alert the students and staff and everybody that stayed on campus or around there, whatever. They would alert them that they're doing something like that so that they're prepared. And they would alert them multiple times before they'd actually do it. And they said they never got alerted.
Well, maybe that's like something they do often, but it doesn't usually make that sound or something. And
I see what you're saying.
Wrong. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't really know or something.
Maybe. Very possibly.
When I went over here to TJC, I think I told y'all this story. I was like walking to class and like, there's a bunch of people out. And I heard the freaking tornado sirens, but it was like the test. And I'm just like, what is going on around here? I'm like, what's that sound? Like, no one's even reacting or anything. Everyone's just doing what they want to do. And I'm over here just like, what is that?
Like, did you hear? You're probably like, was that just me? Did I hear? Am I dreaming? Like,
it was loud. So I was like, yeah. Like, no one else is doing anything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, are we about to die? What is happening?
It still trips me out if I hear it.
Yeah. It's creepy.
Sorry, I'll try not to yawn. I think you can hear something from your house, can't you? That happens in town. What is it? Is it
just the test? You can hear the test.
I think I heard it one time at my house, and it freaked me out because I was like, I never hear it, but I hear it today, and this is freaky.
I hear it all the freaking time. And even at the other house, I heard it too.
Yeah, that's right. I think you heard it more over there.
But I think when I heard it at TJC, it wasn't them talking. It was just the test. Or whatever. And I was just like, what the hell? Aliens. But that just doesn't relate much, but
yeah.
Just a funny story.
Well, I am curious for those listeners out there. I know I have some people, family, friends or whatever that live in College Station or Bryan. This happened. This was in July of 2020 or June of 2020, excuse me. I think this happened it was after George Floyd had passed away. So right at the start of the protests and stuff. Did you hear the banshee scream? I'm very curious to know if anybody heard of that or if anybody's had any experience with LRADs, anybody in the army or anything like that. Yeah. Military, anybody curious? Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. If you're listening to our podcast, go over to our Facebook page, leave us a comment down in our YouTube. My notifications have not been going off. I don't know if Valerie's have, but I have missed a couple comments and I just want to apologize for that. So I'm trying to catch up on them. But we do look at them and we keep leaving comments and let us know your thoughts. All right, so we have a question for today, and I'm very curious to hear our listeners' responses on this one. So Val, what is your biggest screw up in the kitchen? Like something that you've made that you just were like, I can't eat this.
Well, not that great in the kitchen. So there's a lot of screw ups, especially baking. I don't know, just me and baking don't get along. But there was one time I made brownies, but I made it without sugar. On accident.
Oh, you were making them from scratch.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't even remember. I know I was like a teenager.
Yeah, you'd have to be making them from scratch because box brownies calls for 3 eggs, some vegetable oil, and water.
Yeah. Well, they'd also be making them from scratch. But, yep, forgot the sugar. There was one time I made a pineapple upside down cake, flipped it, it went everywhere.
Oh, no.
It's mostly desserts I
baking.
Screw up on.
Yeah, the gotcha.
Especially I'll try to make some icing where you make it on the stove. Cannot get it to work. It will not stay together. Oh. No, I can't get it to stay together.
Oh.
It separates. So I have a lot of trouble in the kitchen. Now I have to follow recipes by the book. I need a recipe to cook. I can't just wing it. So that's me. That's me in the kitchen. What about you?
Interesting. I don't need a recipe unless it's something that I've never made before. If I've never made it before, I need that recipe, but even still, I'll probably wing it a little bit and just be like, I don't think that's enough. I'm going to do this, something like that. But cooking, I do pretty good at, and baking too. I mean, I don't like to cook. I actually kind of like to bake. I like the outcome of it. But my biggest screw up in the kitchen, spaghetti.
What happened?
I made spaghetti one night. My brother was living with me, and I was like, you like spaghetti? Yeah, I like spaghetti. Okay, well, I'm gonna make spaghetti because it's like one of the few things I knew how to make. This was like before I had Maddox and before I had to figure out how to cook. Like, I could cook because I watched my mom. She cooked for 8 people, so I know how to cook, but I hated cooking. I just did not like to be in the kitchen. Brownies and sweets, yeah, I got you, but food, nah. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do some spaghetti. So I'm pretty sure I was still calling my mom and sister at the time, like, hey, how do I do this? Yeah. What do I do with this? But this one I felt confident about because I was like, this is one that I've done a lot. So the noodles were all stuck together.
Oh no.
So I don't know. I think I just put them in the water and just stir them.
It.
Yeah, I think I just left them and let it boil. So they all got stuck. So they were hard as hell. And then the sauce was good. The sauce part of it was good.
Pre-made?
The sauce? Yeah. Oh yeah, just like in a jar. But I warmed it up and put some ground beef in there. Ground up the beef and then poured the sauce in there to get hot. And then I poured it all together. My poor brother, he just, like, I was like, I felt so bad strained the noodles and I was trying to break them up.
My God.
And I was like, oh my gosh, there was like a chunk of, probably a 3-inch wide chunk of noodles I had to throw away because it was so stuck together. I salvaged what I could and I cut off like the ends of that. It looked like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like you take your hair and you like put a rubber band here, and so like it had noodles here and noodles there, but the rest of it was stuck together. So I cut that off and I cut the other end off. God. And so I tried to salvage as much as I could, and I made him a bowl, I made me in a bowl, and like I apologized I don't know how many times. And so I started eating it and I was like, so bad. It was so bad. I don't know how you messed spaghetti up that bad.
Those the noodles?
Yeah, the noodles. It just tasted bad. I don't even know how to explain the taste of it. It just was so bad. But he ate it. He ate 2 bowls. I know. I was like, you really don't have to do that for me. I'll make something else or we can order food. Like, we really don't have to do this. Dang. I felt so bad.
And he just ate 2 bowls.
He just ate it. Yeah. And he was like, no, it's good. He was like, yeah, it's not like, what I'm used to or whatever, but it's all right. It's all right, Sarah. I'll just eat it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. No, I'm not. I was trying to say, I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my biggest screw up in the kitchen.
I have, like, put noodles, like, spaghetti noodles in, like, a small pot and then forgot about them for a little bit, and, like, the tops of them burnt because they weren't in the water.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was possible. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I've screwed up chicken and dumplings too.
What'd you do?
I burn them. Just burn them. The whole thing tasted like burnt. It was so bad. I don't remember I think I was at my mom's house still when I did that.
Aww.
Mama let me know because I feel like that was at your house. Like I was like, I'm gonna cook chicken and dumplings for everybody, and then just, I don't know, put them on the stove and thought that's what she did. She just put them on the stove and walked away. Nah, you gotta stir them. I think I had it up too high and I didn't stir it like often enough. So I think my mom got home and she was like, what are you cooking? I was like, oh, chicken and dumplings.
Oh no.
I'm telling you, that whole thing. It's like, actually the pot I cooked them in is right outside the door because I was pouring water, using it to get water or whatever. But yeah, it was like a big pot of it wasted. The whole thing wasted. Those are probably my 2 big screw ups. Yeah. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I'm sure I did a bunch more. Alright, everyone. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And as always,
stay curious.